Hello, and a huge welcome to the LEAN GIRL Fitcast. We are so happy to have you here, and we hope to add another tool into your fitness and fat loss toolbox today, dealing with this end of year fever where we feel like we are done. We are tired, we want to throw in the towel, and we are just going to give up on all of our goals until the 1st of January hits, and somehow we're going to have brand new energy to hit it with. So how do we navigate this end of year period? How do we actually use these last 2 months of the year, or maybe it's a month, depending on when you're listening to this episode, or actually any time of the year when you feel like you're just losing energy and you're looking forward to a future point where it's somehow magically going to come back. So I have Glenn Gork in the house today, and he is going to be bringing some different perspectives on how to shift our mindset and how to fire up our motivation again when we are feeling flat and tired and done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be talking about stuff that hopefully will keep your motivation, but this is not necessarily a rah, 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 you can do it, because I think that it's a bit of a poor excuse for us to let go of all of our focus just because it happens to be November or December. So I'll be the bad guy this episode.
Okay, I'll be the good guy. I'll be on the side of the girls to be like, you know what? We're tired. We just want to know. That's never my attitude. I'm always like, you know what? I'm going to use these. I always feel like it's such a waste. I'm excited when I think about how many months I have left of this year. I'm actually excited to use them. I've got these months in my pocket when I'm like, that's actually been my question of the month. Whenever I see people, I'm like, what are your goals that you're looking forward to reaching by the end of the year? And most people are quite taken aback because most people do goal setting in January, where I love to do it on a quarterly basis to think, all right, I've got this little chunk of time. What is it that I can do with them?
Yeah. And talking about time and talking about quarters, whether we do things on an annual basis or a quarterly basis, it's all just made up.
Yes.
I mean, a calendar is a man-made thing. And even time is something useful, but we land up feeling that a certain month or even a certain day has some kind of an inherent nature to it, an essence to it. So for example, if I say to you, it's Friday, people are like, Friday!
Yes.
Friday has a feeling to it.
Yes.
Saturday has a feeling to it. Monday has a feeling
Yes.
to it. It doesn't have to be that way. That's just something that we have gotten conditioned into us. It's an idea that we have and a feeling that we're actually evoking about it. And the end of the year is just the same.
Right. I think it's the same exactly about Monday, right? Most people, they could never start a new plan on a Friday because that's just got that Friday energy. It's like screw it, I'm going to postpone whatever it is that I'm going to do until some new point, some point where I feel energized and feels right to do it. And January, of course, is just the queen of this, where everyone postpones everything that they want to do. And so I think the habit that we can get into comes to the end of the year. Is that, okay, you know what? I'm not going to put in any effort. There's too many things going on. And we set ourselves up to not make any progress, to just give in to the fact that this is going to be another summer where I don't feel great in a bikini, where I'm not going to feel confident. And the lie here is that we're actually not only doing it for a future goal, but we're doing it because we want to feel good now. And my perspective is, why even postpone feeling great now? Because I could make choices today. I could make choices this week that make me wake up in the morning and feel great.
So I think that us feeling great about something can really be now, because feeling great is an inside job. I think that when it comes to the end of the year, it's really important for us to know what is drawing us and making us feel comfortable with giving up. And I think what you're trying to say with the whole bikini thing is settling for less than what we really wanted, right? So maybe there was a particular pair of jeans that you wanted to wear over the holiday, because that would have signified certain progress, back to a certain weight that you used to be. And I think that to say, oh, okay, no, well, I'll pick that up in January, I'm just not going to wear that this season. It doesn't have to be that way, but there's a particular excuse, a very particular excuse. Actually, it's like a disease. It's a fever that I call it, itch toy, which is so widespread that we feel that everybody has it and it's totally normal to have. And Idge Toy Fever, it's an acronym that stands for it's just that time of year. A couple of years ago, even before COVID, I said, I posted on social media a video that went a little bit viral, was shared a few hundred times, where I spoke about something that happened to me where I was at a client office for a meeting. And there were two different things that happened in that meeting. The one was somebody arriving late for the meeting. When they walked in all flustered, they're like, it's just that time of year. And then there was someone who had to present certain projections and certain information, and they hadn't yet done it. And they said, it's just that time of year. And in both cases, people just kind of laughed it off and giggled. And that was an acceptable excuse. So I know that in that team, back then, things may have changed now, comes that time of year, comes kind of November, December, no one's productive and everybody's allowing, no one's holding themselves or each other accountable. But this is prevalent. This is really common that we start to think that we can, because everybody else is accepting it, believe that this time of year means that I can, and it's perfectly acceptable to just no longer be accountable to all the things I said I wanted to achieve.
And I think it is so much easier when everyone has that attitude to use that as a scapegoat to let ourselves off the hook. And in reality, there is nothing that is going to change between November, December, and when you wake up on the 1st of January, besides your attitude and besides your mindset. And often when we think about the days that we are going to be indulging come, December, January, where we're having our Christmas dinners, our Christmas lunches, and our New Year's parties, if we had to count on one hand, maybe that is 5 occasions where you're going to be eating off plan. But often what people think is, because I can't be perfect for the next 2 months, I'm not going to do anything. Meanwhile, you have a good 30 days to be brilliant, to be on point, to, even have a bit of flexibility here and there, but you can still make some serious progress. And so you're actually fooling yourself by thinking, okay, because I can't be 100% every single day, that I shouldn't do anything.
Yes, exactly. We think that we're just going to suddenly wake up on one day and have a totally different attitude. And sometimes we do. This is where it gets a bit tricky, because sometimes we have decided.
Yes.
That on this day, then I'm going to start. It's the same thing like on the Friday saying, on Monday, I will start. But it's important to recognize that if that does work for you, the reason is because you decided. So why not just decide not to wait a month?
Right. Why postpone?
Exactly. And if you're going to let everything go, just be honest with yourself and don't say it's because it's that time of year. Actually, it's because you just made the decision to have that attitude. Right. And so just own it. Just take responsibility for it. I think that one of the big things here is that we use it's just that time of year. Oh, and it's been a long year and I've been so good in the year and now I'm just tired. We use that as an excuse, like we mentioned, so easy to because everyone else, it kind of seems socially acceptable. We don't have to explain it more to anybody or anything like that. But what we're doing is we're avoiding looking at what the real issues are. So what are the real issues that you no longer want to stay on track? Is it, I'm just going to rattle off a few things here. Is it that you're really tired? Or is it that perhaps you've just been yo-yo dieting the whole year and that you're tired? You just haven't been on a sustainable path like the science-based approach that you share, where people are doing things in a sustainable way and it's not overly extreme. It's like maybe there's that. Is it because you think that you have to keep eating small meals and you're tired of doing that? Is it because your food doesn't taste good and so you just want to indulge in stuff that you think is going to make you happy because of its taste?
Yes.
But you've got answers to each of those, right? I mean, there are solutions.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people they feel like at this point they're choosing between, should I have a happy festive season or should I get results? And then often what route they will go is, okay, I'm just going to enjoy my damn self and we can think about the results next year. And I think having that mini switch to say, okay, how can I do both? How can I do both this festive season? How can I enjoy myself? How do I build some new habits which are going to serve me and have me walking into 2024 already having laid a lot of the foundations? And again, being okay with not being perfect, having your celebrations, but aren't there some little steps that you can take forward? And that's why I always love that sort of 1% better strategy to say, how can I just slowly but surely creep every day, moving a little bit closer? And always asking ourselves, we did that episode on can fat loss be fun? And the answer was a resounding hell yes.
Yeah.
And often that's not something that we consider as an option.
Exactly. So if you knew that you could have delicious food, you could have big plates of food, that you could have some flexibility in eating the things that you really want to eat, all of this is in the methodology that you teach. So if we're feeling like we want to give up, there's some other reason why. And it's easy to then just say, oh, it's because of this time of year and I'm just going to pick it up in January. But to your point about like the whole 1% better and focusing on the little things, I know, like when I teach people and also in my own learning around even personal development and specifically around things like spiritual growth, everybody's waiting to like read the thing, watch the video, have some big realization, and this big event is going to suddenly change the whole way I think, and my whole life is going to be different, and I'm no longer going to be led by temptation, and I'm going to just always be centered and balanced in my thoughts. I'm not going to be overly reactive. Everybody's waiting for that one big moment, that big event to change us. But it's actually different. It's about having a certain realization and then thinking to yourself, how do I bring this into all the little moments, all the little decisions? And it's exactly the same with this. Waking up in the new year is not going to suddenly give you some big realization. You're still going to have all those little moments, all those little decisions of should I eat this or that? Should I? That's never going to go away.
Yeah.
So rather get good at being able to have an answer to all those situations.
Yes, we have to. We have to dig a little bit deeper. And that's going to be the same question that's going to pop up in January. Come the second week of January, and that new year energy is slowly starting to fade. The same things are going to crop up. So unless we're tackling these big questions as soon as we can recognize them and say, hey, this is an opportunity for me to deal with this now. And what I love about the festive season and what I preach to all the girls is here is a golden opportunity to put into practice all the things that you've learned over the year. And to say, this is a brand new situation I haven't been in yet. How can I practice my fun, flexible approach here in this new situation that I'm in that I haven't encountered? Sometimes it's easy when life is perfect and you're in a routine and you're balanced. And okay, here's a new challenge. That's exciting.
Exactly. It makes me think of that Adam Sandler Saturday Night Live clip where he's like suddenly the Italian tour guide, Romano Tours. And he's saying, hire us or join us at Romano Tours to go to Italy. And and eventually he says, but please just know, if you are not happy where you are now, you will not be happy in Italy. And he goes on, and it's really funny. It's the same thing, is that if right now in November or December, you're not feeling happy and you haven't been able to work out why you haven't yet found a sustainable way to make those positive decisions, just delaying it until Jan is not going to help. If you're not happy, if you're unhappy now, you're not going to be happy in January. And so our problems tend to follow us. But here's an opportunity to actually say, cool, like how do I actually apply this now? And there's so many different ways to do that, which I know you teach.
And so I think what we want to bring to light here is just giving us an opportunity to reframe this, to say, not that I'm wishing these 2 months away or whenever you're listening to this episode, but rather, hey, I've got 6 weeks that I get to put in my pocket and actually use them. How can I actually step into 2024, have already sort of solved some of these challenges that I'm having, because I know that they ain't going to be going anywhere until they are actually solved. So if you have been feeling like, wow, the end of the year is here, I'm really tired, I just want to give up, I just want to start again next year, I think maybe this is a good little question to reflect on. What are the things that are truly challenging you, and how is it that you can start tackling them now, today, using that just 1% a little bit better each day? And how do you use all the things that you've learned, take those healthy habits and apply them to these new situations you might find yourself in going into the festive season?
Exactly. And just finally to add to that, it's just about being honest with yourself. In that, yes, self-care is important as well. And sometimes we do need to consider self-care. So when you're saying it's been one hell of a year, just be honest with yourself. Is it really self-care that you're looking to, that you need? Or are you using the time of year as an excuse to delay, to procrastinate solving some of these problems? And so if you're just honest with yourself and you say to yourself, well, what is really frustrating me? Because to say because it's this time of year is just too broad. You can't. That's not really an honest or accurate way to look at it. And if you really look at some of the issues, you can actually solve them to make the fat loss easier, more enjoyable, more fun. We got all of those episodes on it in your programs. You show all of the ways to have tasty food, to have big portions, all of that stuff. And then at the end of that, if there's still some reason that you need to just give up all of your goals, that is absolutely, so long as you've been honest with yourself.
And I think that brings us to a great end point here. Perhaps you have been dieting the whole year. Perhaps you are a little bit tired. And maybe this is also an opportunity to say, I want to head into maintenance for a couple of weeks. I want to enjoy myself a little bit more. I want to have flexibility. And that is totally okay and understandable and totally cool too. But again, don't blame the random name of the month, December, for your reason to be giving up. So I hope that this gave you a nice little perspective shift heading into the festive season when maybe your energy is feeling a little drained. Maybe we can name this month something completely new for yourself and bring that New Year energy, shift it forward and use it now to start making progress so that when you do head into January, maybe that list of New Year's resolutions looks a little different. And maybe you're starting off already 10 steps ahead of yourself if you were just to give up now and throw away the last couple of weeks.
Or maybe you don't even need New Year's resolutions because you're not overly dependent on a time of year because you're already coming into the year just doing all the good things.
Yes, it's just about continuing.
You're not bringing your problems into the new year that you need a resolution to have to get rid of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. If you resonated with this episode, leave us a comment. Please review the podcast. It helps us so much to get this very important and meaningful message out to all the girls around the world who are struggling a bit on their fitness and fat loss journey, and to give you all the tools that you need to help with that motivation and that mindset. So please show us some love. It really helps. Give it a share to someone else who also would really benefit from listening to this. And of course, follow my lovely husband, Gilan Gork, on Instagram if you are interested in learning how to be a high performer but still have deep happiness. And of course, check me out on Instagram as well at the Lean Girl for all things food, fitness and fat loss. Thank you for tuning in. Sending you much love. We will be back here next week, same time, same place on the Lean Girl Fitcast.